Okay, let's open up the main menu event sheet. Click on Add Event. Select Touch. Select on Touch Object. Under Object, click to choose, and we select the play button. Click Done. Now, click on Add Action. Go to System. Type in Layout. Then select Go to Layout. And make sure that the game layout is selected. What this whole event tells us that when we touch the play button, we will go to the game layout, which is this layout right here, which we will be working on shortly. Let's click the save button, and that completes our main menu. So we can just close out the event sheet and the layout window. Alright, so now we will be focused on the actual game itself. So what we need to do is we need to open up our game layout. Then we need to click on layers, and we need to make sure that we select UI. In fact, while we at it, we can go ahead and lock our background for right now. But make sure that our UI layer, we can go ahead and add the rest of our assets needed for the game. So we can add the bomb, cupcake, and etc. So you should have something like this. And like I said, all of this should be our UI. In fact, no. We need to add one more layer. And we need to rename this to game objects. And we need to bring it down in between the UI and the background. And for our game objects, we need to, well, for our objects that needs to be in the game objects layer, that needs to be our foods. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag all the necessary foods here. It's 4 items: the star cookie, the Pop-Tart, the cupcake, and the donut. So what we need to do, we need to make sure that all of these objects are set to the game object layer. Alright, let's take our left and right arrows and put them inside the game. Make sure they're positioned the same horizontally. So 691 and 691. And now we drag our X button. Make sure it's set to 691. Since the button is a little small, we can drag it out a little bit to make it bigger. Okay. Make sure that's set to the UI layer. And now we take our pause button, we put it in the game, make it a little bit larger. Make sure that's set out to the UI layer. We take our middle, make it a little bit larger, put it in the game, layout. Make sure it's set to UI, and we take our star. And we set it right under the middle. And make sure that it's set to UI layer. For our full objects, we need to add the bullet behavior. Bullet behavior is used for custom movement with our objects, which we will be using for later. To do this, we need to click on each object, and under behavior, click on behaviors, then click on the add new button, and type in bullet, and we select it. Close this out. Now we need to edit our bullet behavior properties for each of these objects. Select the donut. Make sure the speed is set to 0, acceleration to 0, gravity to 90, bounce off solids to no, set angle to yes. For our cupcake, we need to set our speed to 0, our acceleration to 0, our gravity to 50, bounce off solids no, set angle no. For our part tart, we need to set our speed to 0, set our acceleration to 0, set gravity to 100, set bounce off solids to no, and our angle yes. And finally, our star cookie, set the speed to 0, acceleration to 0, gravity 175, bounce off solids no, and set angle to no. One thing that I forgot to mention is to make sure that our bomb also has a bullet behavior, and make sure that the speed is set to 0, acceleration is 0, and the gravity to 250. Now, the reason why each of these food types have different gravity amounts is the simple fact it will affect the speed at which each object will fall from the sky once we add our alligator on the screen. Like I said, the objective of this game is to make our alligator, which we will add shortly. We will make him try to eat all these foods within a time period. For each one of these foods that you eat, you will score points. Every time you eat a bomb, you will lose points. Our final step in this game layout design process is to drag the pause button, and we just make it larger, and we can set it right here in the middle, and make sure that the initial visibility is set to invisible. So when we start the game, we won't see this at the beginning. The only time we should see this is when the game is actually paused, which we will create an event later to do this. Double click outside the layout, type in pause, and we will add the pause object. This is from the Rex pause plugin that we added earlier into the construct2 folder.